to Forza Horizon 5. It is officially Boxing Day, and for Boxing Day, we can get a new car. Our gift for Christmas this year is a Cadillac CTS V Wagon. An unbelievably cool car. I love this thing. Before we jump into that and all of the incredible fun facts for it, of course, Santa Claus decided to give us socks for Christmas. That's how you know we're getting old. And this week in the Backstage Pass, it's a Lamborghini overpriced versus a Lamborghini slightly less overpriced. Before I actually get too far into this, the AR12 store is having its final sale of the year for Black Friday. What? For Boxing Day? There's merch up to nearly 40% off over on the store. There's only limited quantities because so much of it is already sold out. So if you do want to pick anything up, do so now before it's gone forever. 215 miles an hour. Easy claps. Thank you very much. The CTS-V Wagon is officially ours. Let's go. How do I say this without sounding incredibly biased? This is one of the coolest cars in Forza Horizon 5, okay? Sorry, I said it. I said what I said. I don't take it back. It just is, okay? Let's jump in. I guess let's start with a sound test because it's got a supercharged V8 bone stock. I hate the amount of plastic right there. It's kind of rivaling the same amount of plastic on some Americans these days, but let's just ignore that. Supercharger is wild. As per usual, this wouldn't be an AR12 video without any fun facts about the incredible, the lovely, the beautiful CTS V Wagon. Cadillac's had this big focus on motorsport ever since sort of like the early 2000s-ish, and that's where they introduced the V-powered car. Essentially, Cadillac took the cars for old people and then fitted them with the most absurd engines from GM. Back in the early 2000s, Cadillac made a regular CTS Cadillac. It was essentially exactly like this, except it was like a sedan with kind of like a normal engine. Cadillac went, that's really cool, but what if we made it faster? So they swapped in essentially a Cadillac, or sorry, a Corvette ZR1 engine into the thing with 500 horsepower. And then people went, yeah, that's really cool, but what if we made it even cooler by making a wagon? And the vice president of Cadillac went, actually, you know what? That's a pretty good idea. Let's do that. Unfortunately, Cadillac didn't make too many of these things. They only made 2,000 wagons. And unfortunately, they only made 500 six-speed manuals. Yep. Proper six-speed manuals. And because of that, they are unbelievably expensive now. If you want to buy a manual six-speed CTS V Wagon, you'll need to cough up anywhere from $80 to $90 to $100,000 for these things. If you're a car fan, boys, you cannot look at this thing and go, that's not a cool car. It's just wagon, yes. V8 supercharged, yes. Six-speed manual, yes. You want another fun fact to make it even better? I would like to apologize in advance for the environmentalists watching this video. You know how like the government has to go out every year and like test all of the cars that are on sale and give them like a EPA rating or like whatever it's called? Basically, they test how like fuel efficient the car is. This car has a record for being the least fuel-efficient wagon made in the 2000s sold in America. Has there ever been an ugly wagon? Or is every wagon ever made cool? Like, even a Vauxhall, what are they called? Vauxhall Insignias? That's like the worst of wagons. That'd be like going to a 5-star steakhouse and then ordering a salad. Sure, it's not really what you came for, but I'm sure it's probably still quite nice. I don't think there's a bad wagon. Wait, what? The developers gave this a wide body kit? Yo, look at the dinner tray on the back there. See, we all could have used that for Christmas dinner. Jesus Christ. Yo, look at the front splitter on there as well. Boys, there's a slight problem with the wide body. It removes the rear door handle. Anyways, we've also got some engine swaps available. Dodge Viper V10, which is a bit weird to put into this thing, and a 7.7 liter V12. Why? Where's the Corvette E-Ray engine for this thing? Where's the Copo Camaro engine for this thing? I'm gonna keep the stock engine in it. I don't think there's any point in doing that. I forgot to mention, in case you were wondering, it's rear wheel drive, which means you can do skids in it. Makes it even cooler. I'm gonna leave it rear wheel drive. It's not worth it to take the all wheel drive PI penalty. not worth it for first build. We've also got 2 Forza. I really thought the developers would get us a Christmas present by simply removing the chat question. I think it would be better having no aero mod than these aero mods. I can be disappointed about nothing, but this makes me physically ill. I'll take the disappointment over feeling ill any day of the week. We do also have the world's smallest rear lip on there, so I guess we'll do it. Sure. Let's get some nice ADV ones because I'm an ADV one simp. I should have probably mentioned I'm trying to go for like an A-class build for my first thing, so we're gonna keep things fairly normal with this, you know. I probably don't need full-on race brakes. We won't be going fast enough, and it's not worth it to take the PI penalty. We could also go and get some race suspension. In real life, this car actually had like Magna Ride suspension in 2014. It's actually the same suspension that's on my Mustang that I've got. Instead of the suspension like just being stiff, it uses magnets to figure out the stiffness, and it's very cool. Okay, we're also gonna get some weight reduction on here. It's actually not that heavy. Anyways, we've got 640 horsepower now. That looks good. If you're gonna complain about something for this car, it was Cadillac's paint jobs in the mid 2010s. And when I say a bit boring, I would like to ban all of these. The blue's pretty cool, I'll give you that, and the red is also not bad, but the rest of these colors, awful, boring. I love what Cadillac is doing nowadays. Cadillac's orange on the CT4, CT5, unbelievably cool. The things that Cadillac is doing right now is so sick. Okay, can we just simp for Cadillac for a second right now? Cadillac's doing the Formula 1 project now. Sick. Cadillac is destroying Le Mans prototype cars. It is wild. Then you've got all of Cadillac's like road going cars. The CT4 and the CT5V Blackwings are genuinely some of my favorite cars on sale today. I wish I needed a sedan for like everyday driving because I would absolutely buy one of those things. Actually, chat, now that I mention, I have actually been looking at replacing my Ford Raptor with a Cadillac Escalade for a little while now. Basically, I need a car that can tow my race car to away races, and I also need a car that's big enough to sleep in while I do those away races. And I think a Cadillac Escalade would be like the sickest car to do that in. Do not sleep on Cadillac. They are absolutely killing it at the moment. I genuinely love what Cadillac is doing. They are ticking every single box, and it's beautiful. Probably the reason I love what Cadillac is doing right now is because of what they did back in the day with these things. I've only ever seen one in real life before. Funnily enough, it was when I was in America. I saw a CTS Wagon. It was silver. It was so like, I want to say the word is like strange look. I think with all of the upgrades we did, it feels quite nice to drive as well. The weight reduction really makes a nice difference. It feels totally like drivable, super smooth, very downforcey, very grippy. Not the fastest thing, but for like a nice cruise, chill, fun race car, cruise car, lovely. Can somebody fact check me on this? I don't think Cadillac's ever made an off-road car, have they? Like, Cadillac's done a lot of motorsport stuff, but I don't think they've ever done off-road motorsport stuff. What if I ditch the pavement for a bit of dirt, give it some all-wheel drive, and then give it some twin turbos? So now we're twin turboed and supercharged. Is that like called dual charged or something? It's something like that, right? Twin charged? Twin charged. Let's give it some off-road race tires as well. I guess we'll thicken up the front. Probably not all the way, but just a little bit. I guess we'll give it some better brakes now. That should be good. Let's also give it some off-road suspension. I've actually just decided we're only going to do middle of S1 class because the stock engine cannot build horsepower. I guess I shouldn't say it can't build horsepower. We've got nearly 900 horsepower, but it's never going to get to the top of S1 class. So I'm going to leave it there. Let's see if anybody's made any nice paint jobs. Oh, Fire's made the Cadillac orange, and somebody's made the race car paint. And then of course somebody had to put weebs on it. Let's just not look at that one. Whoa, chat, hear me out. This would be the coolest modern day Mad Max car. Imagine, take this car, throw it in a desert, leave it there for like 5 years while it just gets blasted by sand and rusts up a little bit, and then give it some spikes and some scary looking hooks and maybe even like an Australian rhubarb on the front. I think you've got the coolest modern day Mad Max car. That is so sick. Okay, maybe the wide body would be a little bit unpractical for the whole off-roading and desert running thing, but I think regardless, It's cool, okay? Now that we're going off-road with our proper off-road race tires, we should be decently, okay, relatively quickly and grippy. We'll see if we get some understeer, but I think overall, we shouldn't have too much trouble with that. I think this, holy, that's a big wing. Sorry, I hate to look at the size of another man's rear wing, but I just had to admire that for a second. Anyways, move out of the way, Corvette. I am simply the cooler version of you. Hate to break it to you. I really wish it had like some cool aerials coming off the top, because then it really would have been like a homemade Mad Max car. It really would have been. Did Hennessey ever build like a Hennessey version of the CTS-V? I'm not sure. Nice move. Nice move past the big wing, man. That was a lovely set. Chat says no Hennessey version of this. Okay, maybe if Hennessey didn't build one of these things, maybe I should build my own homemade... Whoa. Chat, I want to do my own homemade CTS-V Hennessey build. How do I say this without being blacklisted from Hennessey? I'm going to use an engine which was paid for in full from a Dodge Viper V10. Then, because it's Hennessey, I'm going to give it rear-wheel drive because American freedom. I only want 2 wheels spinning. And I want the world's fattest supercharger for all of the... I can get. I guess I will also give it some racing slicks now. I'll also give it, I guess we've already got the thickest tires in the rear. I guess I'll also give it the thickest tires in the front. I'll upgrade the drivetrain to the max again, okay, for all of the customization, so hopefully I won't get too much understeer again. Love a good bit of turbofan to get you started at the day. Then we'll go back to the race suspension. Very good. Chat, could we have a good name for this? It's gonna be the Cadillac CTS-V Wagon, then however much horsepower it has, and then like a Bible name. We're gonna be the Cadillac CTS-V Wagon 1100. No, we can't do Exorcist. They've already done that. We can't call it the Saint. If we want to be Bible-y, what if we just call it the Atom? The Executor. That's a good name. The CTS-V 1100 Executor. It would have been even cooler if we could have taken this thing. That's such a cool intro. So underrated. It would have been really cool is if we would have had like advanced paint groups for this, and we would have been able to take all the chrome away and like matte black the chrome. That would have been really cool. And the other thing that would have been really nice as well, it would have been really, really cool if we could have given it like a black and gold license plate. You know what I mean? Actually, you know the license plates that are on like the Forza edition cars? This would have been really cool if it had like a black and gold license plate. It's a little sketchy. I'm having to do a lot of steering to try to keep this thing going even remotely in the right direction. I guess in all reality, I probably took this thing to the wrong race. Doing a midnight battle 1v1 probably wasn't the best idea. I probably should have done a racetrack that was more like high-speed corners. We never build up enough speed with these slow-speed corners to really get the downforce coming on. So it's just like wiggly the entire time. Look, this is the one place where it'll be nice, right through here. Downforce. It's awful at 60 miles an hour, but at 130, it's great. Now that we're onto the highway, we get it up to 186 miles an hour. You could probably get 200 with this thing, to be fair, even with all of the downforce we're running. I think in all reality, if you're actually going to race this thing, off-roading's probably the best place for it. If I'm going to go drifting the CTS-V Wagon, do we go all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive? Chat says rear-wheel drive. A lot of chat wants rear-wheel drive. Okay, so we're not going to go for the points. We're going to go for the style. We're going to go for the 360. If that's the case, I'm 100% leaving it wide body. We've got the TVR V12 in this thing. We'll do things realistically. Drift tires, maybe thin the tires down a little bit. I don't need 345s for drifting. Let me jump in here, give it some race suspension, or sorry, some drift suspension on here. Very good. 960 is probably good enough. Chat says now I should call it the Savior. If we could get a nice big angle entry. Don't spin! Don't spin! Held. I'll take that. It looks good. And I think that's what this car is good at. I mean, I guess now that I say it, I guess we've figured out exactly what this car was built for. It's a very cool, practical car. It's not the fastest thing ever made, obviously. Got some great performance and you can do some fun things with it, but that's not what it's made for. This car's built for being practical, looking good, and just all round being the most stylish guy in the parking lot. It does the cool thing so well. Uh-oh, over rotate. We're just going to call that a 720, okay? We're going to call that a completely intentional 720. It's got room for all of your friends, all of your family, and even a couple of dogs in the trunk. It's the perfect car. People have been sleeping on Cadillac, and I think this thing just proves that they've been sleeping on Cadillac for 10 years.